some parents that I'm encountered with who just worry that the curriculum is getting a bit political, I might even say a bit woke in places, or at least that there are moves afoot to kind of push values in schools that might or might not sit well with the characteristic spirit of the schools. And I think there's a worry that the state needs to acknowledge perhaps more clearly and in a more upfront way that education is a partnership between schools. The Education Act clearly recognises the responsibility of patrons for characteristic spirit. The Constitution clearly established that the state is in the position of supporting parents around how they educate their children. So when you have issues like pornography coming over the horizon, everybody will agree with you that it's important that information and the right information is communicated. Everybody will agree with you that staff who are talking about these topics would be offered training. But at the end of the day, a school that would teach, that would have an ethos that would, clearly see pornography as immoral, will probably have a different approach to teaching about that topic than a school that might have, shall we say, as part of its just more libertarian values. And I just think it will alleviate a lot of concern if you were to say, Minister, look, the curriculum is the curriculum, but at the end of the day, the curriculum is viewed through the lens of the characteristic spirit of a school, which is chosen freely by parents, and that there is that diversity, because we talk a lot about diversity in one way. We don't talk about diversity at all, or at least the state doesn't talk about diversity much these days when it comes to respecting that there are different types of school, different types of parent, different types of characteristic spirit, and that these, as the curriculum gets more demanding, it seems to me that there has to be a balancing here whereby there is respect for the characteristic spirit of schools as well. And any reassurance that you can give on that score would be very welcome, I think.
Thanks, Senator. Again, just to say to you that we're very conscious of the world in which we live these days, and I think we are all of us as a collective conscious of that. I think we're aware that many of our students are getting access to information, and I've said this previously to you, that is not supervised, that is not appropriate, that is not monitored, and they're gaining that access via their mobile phones and other sources. It is very important that our students are equipped, I suppose, to face the challenges of the world in which they live, that they get the appropriate information from individuals who are appropriately trained. Hence, as I've said, we are rolling out this postgraduate opportunity for our staff, which will be costs covered by the department. But equally so, I suppose it's important to say that, as I say, in terms of the information, and students need to have that information, I want to say too that in terms of how we will proceed going forward, there is a public consultation process. It's open until the 18th of October now, and I have invited, and I continue, and I'll take the opportunity here today to invite everyone to express their thoughts and their views and their opinions on what we're about and what needs to be achieved for our young people. And when all of that is received, then we will take on board all the thoughts and opinions and shades of opinions and expertise. I absolutely accept there's no monopoly of wisdom on anything, so we'll take that on board. But fundamentally, I want to be very clear, students must have information for the world in which they live. They must receive it properly, and the curriculum must provide for that. But as to how we will do it, there is a public consultation process ongoing. I respect that, and I'm asking people to engage in it.
It would help, though, Minister, if there could be an acknowledgement that there is, across the diversity of characteristic spirits, a similar commitment to ensuring that students are equipped to deal with the world in which they live, but that values come into this as well, and nobody, I think, I've heard nobody talking about not providing information, but there is a concern that information can be slanted very easily, and that could happen within the NCCA as well. And whatever about consultation, that's important. But at the end of the day, the Constitution says what it does, and the law says what it does about the role of the schools and their right to promote their characteristic spirit. And in the event of a clash, I think it would be healthy if the government was clear in acknowledging that characteristic spirit is not an irrelevant concept here.
Well, again, I'm saying to you that there is a public consultation period. I'm inviting people to share their thoughts and opinions, but I'm equally clear in saying to you that there will be a syllabus formulated out of the public consultation process and out of what we know students need to have access to in terms of information. And schools will be obliged to, you know, to follow the syllabus, to follow the curriculum. But as I say, I don't want to prejudice the outcome of the thoughts and, you know, views that people will have and how it's going to be implemented and in what way it's going to be implemented. I'd rather that the fuller consultation will conclude on the 18th of October, and you know, we will then do the body of work that's necessary to do, bearing in mind all of the thoughts and opinions that have been expressed, and that is how I will express it at this point. Thank you, Senator.
Okay, thank you.